This is a quick tutorial on how to pack models. So I've got two types of bubble wrap here. I have this large 1-incher stuff, and this is just scrap. So, it's not in the greatest condition, but it'll serve our purposes today. So for a vehicle or something like this, you just cut off a length. And what you're going to do, there's a couple ways to do it. You can do what's called a wonton, and that's where you actually take each corner and move it up to the middle. Well, this is a little too big. In fact, I'm going to cut this down a bit more. Okay, move it to the middle, and then you just tape it in that one spot. And that's a very simple, quick way of doing it. You want the bubbles to be facing the model. That'll give it that extra cushion. I'm just going to grab some tape here. And so we just bring the wonton up, grab a piece of tape, a fairly big piece of tape it. Now if you want to go the extra mile, and you should tape the corners as well. Okay, and then if you flip it and do that same process again, now you've got like this really big puffy thing around your vehicle, and that would look a little something like this. All right, so yeah, you would just reverse it, and then from the other direction, you would create a second wonton, probably with a slightly bigger piece of bubble wrap. So there you go, there's a double wonton, and that is a really good package. Now for infantry figures, you're going to do what I call a burrito. Yeah, you'll probably be a little hungry after this tutorial. So what you do is you set your guys like lengthwise, maybe 2, well, let's make it 3. Okay, so 3, and then you flip it. Okay, you just start rolling them up in there, maybe even twice if you're feeling ambitious. Now you take 2 guys and you stick them in the gap like this. And that way they'll put pressure in these spots and keep these guys from moving up against each other. And even if they do bump against each other, they'll be bumping against the base, which is plastic, and less likely to chip the paint. But the fact is, they don't really move. And then you do it actually a couple of times. Okay, and then you cut it like this, whoosh. And now you're going to put on 3 points of tape. You're going to put one in the middle, and you're going to put one on the end. And you're going to make sure you get kind of those oddball, little tab that sticks out. Now sometimes you'll want to actually fold it over. That'll give you that extra little bit of cushion. And there you go. That's a burrito. And you just sort of stack them up in the package. In fact, let me just grab an empty box. Okay, so what you would do is you would put a layer of peanuts, just like maybe 1 inch or so, maybe 2 inches, depending on how ambitious you want to be. And then you stick in your pieces like that in the middle, and then by layer you fill in the edges, and then you put in another layer and you fill in the edges with peanuts again. Then you put in another layer and you fill in the edges, and then you put some on top. Now, what you're going to want to do at this point, once you've filled it with peanuts, is you're going to want to shake it like this. And that's going to make all the peanuts in the model settle. Not too hard now, you don't want to be too violent, but it's going to simulate the shipping truck traveling. And because if you don't do this and they settle, there's an air gap, and now everything starts bouncing around. So when you close your flap, you're going to get to right about here, 1/4 inch, you're going to feel just a little bit of pressure. So you got to be super careful with this, because if it's too much and you push down on it, now you're breaking the models. But you want a little bit, because then that means they're being snugly held in place. So there's a little tiny bit of give in there with the bubbles and the peanuts, but there's not too much. And then you would, of course, seal it. And you got to make sure you really, 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 really get those edges, because those can come open. Make sure that tape comes down you know, a good ways on the side. Okay, that's my quick tips for packing miniatures. And that's how we do it at BTP. We have a really good success rate. Obviously, if a model's very delicate, we do even more. I mean, there's more things that can be done for this than this, like interior supporting with foam. But we've been very successful with our packing methods. And this is definitely, if the models aren't painted, then this is more than enough, really. All right, thanks for tuning in.